everybody. Welcome back to Sally's Backyard. I'm Sally. Thanks for coming back. I really appreciate it. If you're new, thanks for joining me. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for the kind comments on my last video and really on all my videos. You guys are so kind and I really appreciate it. So thank you. I thought that today we would start by looking at some vintage linens. And so I'll tell you the story. So this past Christmas, my sister gave me a box that was all taped up. And she said, this is the box that we took out of Grandma's apartment when she went into the nursing home. Well, that was back in 1980, I believe, 1980, yeah. So she said, I've had this box and it's taped up and I haven't opened it in so many years and I don't even remember really what's in here. So she gave it to me. She said, maybe you'd like to look through this. You can have it, you know, take it. So we did open it up and I have looked through it, but I wanted to share some of it with you. Not only were there vintage linens in there, my grandmother's recipe book was in there from when my mom was a little girl. And I'm gonna save that for a future video because I really haven't looked through it that much, but I thought it would be fun in the future to look through it and maybe we could make a recipe from it. So that'll be in a future video, but I wanted to show you a picture of my grandma. Here she is on her wedding day, and this was taken in 1920. She was born in 1900. So yeah, we are going to look through this box of her vintage linens. So these linens have been kept in this old Reich's department store box. Reich's was a very popular department store here in Dayton. They actually tore that building down about 25 years ago and built our Performing Arts Center in downtown Dayton. So let's have a look. Okay, here is the recipe book, and we will look through that on a future episode. I can't wait to do that because I really have not looked at that very much. So let's see what we find here. I am in one of our spare bedrooms. When we first moved here, both my daughters lived at home, and this was my older daughter's room, and I have taken it over as the spare bedroom. But I have some quilts in here that my mom collected. I have one family quilt and just some knickknacks and things that belong to family and some old photographs. So let's get started. So the first thing that I saw after we saw the recipe book, the first thing that I saw in here was this. Isn't she great? I just love it. She is embroidered and pieced together. And I think this one I'm going to frame because she's in such good condition. So yeah, that was the first piece that we found. And then there are some other just odds and ends, little doilies and things. There's an old tablecloth, little damask tablecloth. I don't know if you can see that. It's a very fine print on there. Paisleys and things. And then here's another little piece. This looks like a napkin. It's just filled with odds and ends and everything is in such good condition. I'm sure she didn't use these very much. Now, I've inherited other linens from my great-grandmother, and that could be another that could be another episode that we could go through that box. Those I don't really use because they're so heavily starched and they're embroidered. I wasn't really sure if I should use them, so I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with those. I'm sure, you know, one of my daughters will inherit those, but that's for another video. And then here's a cute tea towel for Christmas that she had in there. Again, in just great shape. So colorful and bright. So yeah, these things I'm probably going to use. And then here are some napkins that actually match that tablecloth. There's a few of these in there. And then just a few more of these little doilies. I think most of these items are probably from the 40s. I don't know if they're that much earlier, but that's my best guess. Now this is a big tablecloth, and it does have some stains and things on it, but you know, she used it. But the graphics on it are just great. And I'm gonna get in here as much as I can. This is a big rectangular tablecloth. Let me see if I can open this up so you can see this, this design in the middle. Do the best I can here. If you can see that with the flowers and everything, it's just so much fun. I love it. This I'm gonna take downstairs and wash, and I will probably put this on my dining room table for summertime. Right now I have a pink and white tablecloth on there that my mom gave me that's linen, that's vintage, and I have that on there for spring, but this may be my summertime tablecloth. And then here's another little towel, little hand towel. It's got a little fringe on the edge. And then there's some cute little hankies, you know, because ladies carried hankies back then. And here's a little pink one, and these are embroidered with USA on them. There's a pink one, and there is a purple one, and they both have the same, I don't know what the significance of these are, but they both have the same embroidery on them. So those are the hankies, and then there are just a few little hand towels left, and this one is really starched. It's very stiff, but it's got this pretty detail on it. And then there are two yellow ones, and these might actually be, I think these are actually napkins. They're just folded a little differently, but, or they could be hand towels. I don't know, let's unfold one. Yeah, I think these are napkins. They're a little small for a towel. So that's it. Those are the treasures that I have in this box. And yeah, some of these I'm definitely going to use, and some I may just leave in here, and you know, we'll see. I'm sure my daughters will get these things if they want them. But yeah, where's that? This, definitely going to frame this. I have no idea who made it, no idea where it came from, except that it was my grandmother's. She was not a crafter. I asked my mom, and she said, you know, she didn't embroider, she didn't crochet or knit or really sew, except for, you know, mending. So I don't know where she got this, but this is definitely going to be framed, and I'll probably hang it in this room. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. I did. It is very windy out here today. I think we're supposed to have some thunderstorms later this afternoon. I'm not going to go through all of my garden, but I did want to show you a couple of plants. This is my crazy tomato plant, my cherry tomato plant that is just, I don't know, like quadrupled in size in the past few days, it seems like, but got quite a few blooms coming on. So hopefully we'll have cherry tomatoes in not too much longer. This is the poor box that keeps getting the squirrel activity. They've dug in it twice in this little area, so I've just decided to leave it for now, and I will come back and plant some more seeds in there at some point. Someone asked me how I deal with the squirrels, if I have any tricks or tips. I don't have any. I just live with it, and there's really not much I can do. I just replant. I wanted to show you how much these glads have shot up since the last time I podcasted. So yeah, everything is doing well. We have a cardinal nest way up there. I can't actually see it from here, and if I go down the steps of the front porch, I can look up into the tree and see kind of a dark spot where the nest is, but it doesn't really show up very well on video. I've been able to get some video of the male cardinal and one of the babies hopping out of the nest and hopping down our little sidewalk. So I will show you that here in a little bit. Last night I finished May's dishcloth, which is The Secret Garden. And this is a design by the Kitchen Sink Shop for her year-long dishcloth make-along. I used Lily Sugar and Cream in the rose pink colorway, and I used US size 4 circular needles. So there are a couple of mistakes in here, but that's okay. It's all a learning process for me. So I really like this. I think it turned out pretty. And yeah, I'm gonna add it to my box of dishcloths. I found this cute pattern on Ravelry. It's called the Houseplant Clippings Plant Hanger. And I used some cotton scraps. This is a pattern by Ashley Konecki. It's free. So yeah, I just used some cotton scraps, and I'm going to hang up my little mason jar that I've had for a while with these plant clippings in there. And for some reason, this plant seems to do better in water than it does in soil. So I'm going to hang this up. This is a very easy, quick pattern. And so yeah, check it out on Ravelry. Going to dry some herbs today, but first I need to dust off my drying rack. This is an old clothes drying rack, a vintage clothes drying rack that my mother-in-law gave me many years ago, and I use this every year to hang and dry my herbs. So I'm just going to give this a little dust and bring it in the house, and we'll get started on drying some herbs. I went out on the front porch and harvested some herbs. I haven't really harvested this early before, but the ones in the pots on the front porch are doing so well that they needed a trim. So I figured I might as well get started. So I've got some thyme, some rosemary, some oregano, chives, and some parsley. So I'm gonna show you how I hang my herbs up to dry. The chives are a little bit of a different process. I'll cut these again and lay them out on a sheet pan and put them in the freezer for, I don't know, maybe an hour or so. And then I will transfer those, once they're frozen, I'll transfer those into a plastic container and then just keep them in my freezer. And I can use them whenever I need some chives. A cotton string, and I just tie these up in little bundles. I don't pack the bundles too tight because you want the herbs to have a little room to breathe. And then I'll hang them on my drying rack. And once they're all hung up on the drying rack, I put them in the dining room, and I'll leave them in there for a few weeks until they're dry. And then I'll store them in glass mason jars. Here are a couple of the herbs from my pantry. This is oregano. We use a lot of oregano and there's not much left. And then here's some basil. And I have all of my other herbs stored like this in the pantry, and they keep for a really long time. usually for a couple of years. After that, after a couple of years, I will rotate these out and start with fresh dried herbs from that year. You want to make sure that your herbs are good and dry before you put them in mason jars or whatever kind of container you're going to store your dried herbs in, because you don't want them to mold. That's not the goal. So just make sure they're good and dry before you put them in jars for storage. I've been drying my herbs like this for a long time, many years, and it always seems to work out just fine. I will continue to harvest and dry these herbs throughout the summer and into the fall, and we will have plenty for the coming year. I always seem to have enough cotton yarn scraps on hand from my leftover projects, enough to tie up and dry my herbs every year. So that's a great use of cotton yarn scraps. And of course, you don't have to have any kind of fancy drying rack or anything like that. When we lived in a smaller house, I used to hang my herbs on hangers and hang those in my pantry, and that worked just fine. So anywhere you can put them in a cool, dry place. And this is the spot in the dining room where I put my herb rack. Yeah, different times of the season it'll be fuller than others, but it's a good time to get started, because the more you trim those plants back, the more they're going to grow and keep producing herbs for you throughout the season. Do those smell good, Riley? So here we are in June. It's June 1st. I can't believe how fast the time is going. Just clips on by. Seems like the older I get, the faster the time goes. But I wanted to tell you, I finished the Cartographers, and I did really enjoy it. It was a really good book. Something different for me. It had a little bit of a sci-fi fantasy twist in it, which I didn't know when I picked up the book. So that was kind of fun. I did enjoy that. And I just finished this book. It's called The Midnight Library by Haig. You may have heard of it. My daughter recommended it, and I really enjoyed this one too. It's about a young woman who is making some life choices, and again, has a little bit of a sci-fi fantasy twist to it. It's a good read, so I really enjoyed that. And I have another book in the wings, and I will let you know if I would recommend that or not. They're hit or miss, you know, you just never know. So anyway, I just wanted to update you on that. I cast on the next dishcloth in the year-long dishcloth knit along by the Kitchen Sink Shop. And this one is called Narnia, and she is basing all of her patterns this year on her favorite books. Seems like they're all maybe from her childhood books, but let me show you that. Not too much to show just yet. I just cast it on, and I've got a couple of rows in, but I'm using Lily Sugar and Cream. This is the Tangerine colorway, and these patterns are free. She sends you an email at the beginning of the month, and then in a couple of weeks she'll put the pattern on Ravelry so everyone has access to it. So yeah, I really enjoyed making these. They've been a lot of fun. And yeah, I can't believe we're on the 6th one already. So I've learned a lot. I've learned some new stitches, and that was my goal. And then at the end of the year, I'll have some really nice gifts to give away at Christmas time. I've been seeing these projects on Pinterest to make sun catchers with beads, and since I have this collection of assorted glass beads, I thought I would give it a try. So I just found a stick in the yard, and I screwed in some eye hooks and strung up some beads and hung those on there. And I think this made a really cute sun catcher. I plan to make more of these. I think they would make great gifts. I started working on the Dairy Cow Comforter for my granddaughter. This is by Olive's Toy Box. It is a paid-for pattern, but her patterns are really nice. They're easy to put together. So yeah, I've just started it. This is one of the arms, and these are the little hooves. So I think it's going to be really cute. I'm using Paintbox yarn, Simply DK, and James Brett Flutterby for the body. So yeah, I will keep you posted on that. Hopefully I'll have this finished by the time of my next podcast. I'm going to end this episode here. I just want to thank you all for joining me on all of my crafty adventures. I do get into a lot of things. If you're new, thanks for stopping by. And if you've been with me for a while, really appreciate you coming back. So yeah, I hope you're all staying safe. I hope you're all well. And yeah, so I will see you guys again next time. Bye, everybody.